Hey everyone, welcome to our latest explainer. I'm so thrilled you're here. Before we even start, let's just take a collective deep breath. Seriously, just breathe in and let it out. Bring a calm, intentional energy to our time together right now. Today we're unpacking a really transformative concept from our source text, the breath of tranquility. If you're a focused learner looking to understand exactly how to actively trigger relaxation, like literally taking the steering wheel of your body's stress response, you are in the absolute perfect place. We're going to dive deep into the specific, actionable techniques that make up this curriculum, going all the way from the physical mechanics of breathing right up to the profound stillness of meditation.
Okay, let's dive right into this. The breath of tranquility, a curriculum of calm.
So, right off the bat, the text hits us with a clear overarching thesis. Breathing is a direct, accessible relaxation method. And honestly, this reframes the breath entirely. Think about it. We usually treat breathing as just, an automatic subconscious bodily function, right? It's just background noise. But by turning it into a deliberate, intentional, and teachable method, we essentially gain a manual override switch for our autonomic nervous system. When you consciously slow and control your breath, you are literally firing off neurological signals to your brain saying, hey, we're safe, it's okay to relax. And that physiological shift, that's the foundational concept grounding every single technique taught in this program.
Which brings us to the core focus of this entire curriculum, stress management, and what participants actually learn to achieve it. So, if the ultimate endgame here is managing stress, what exactly is on the syllabus? What are the specific, actionable steps participants take to go from a state of total overwhelm to grounded tranquility? While the text systematically breaks these down into the core breathing techniques, otherwise known as the 4 pillars.
This curriculum is built solidly on 4 distinct, deliberate practices. First up, abdominal breathing, which focuses heavily on deep, stabilizing core mechanics. Second, we have alternate breathing, which is a rhythmic practice designed to balance out the nervous system. Third is chest or thoracic breathing, engaging that upper respiratory system. And finally, meditation, which shifts the entire focus inward to the mind. You see, you aren't just being told to relax. Instead, you're being handed a very precise, incredibly varied toolkit to tackle stress from a bunch of different angles.
Now, what's really fascinating here is how this syllabus actually categorizes these pillars. On one hand, you have techniques that are fundamentally physical. We're talking direct, mechanical alterations of how your body takes in air, so abdominal, alternate, and thoracic breathing. They use your literal physical body as a lever to change your mental state. And then on the other hand, you have the purely mental, holistic practice of meditation. The program does a beautiful job of balancing a heavy emphasis on these physical respiratory interventions with one deeply restorative mental practice.
Let's zoom in on that first physical pillar, abdominal breathing. This is not just about taking in more air. It's about changing where that air actually goes. When you do abdominal breathing, you actively engage the diaphragm, that large muscle sitting at the base of your lungs. So instead of your chest just rising and falling, your belly physically expands outward on the inhale and drops back down on the exhale. This deep, lower lung breathing is absolutely crucial because it actively stimulates the vagus nerve. And that stimulation, it acts literally like a brake pedal for your nervous system. It immediately lowers your heart rate and reduces your blood pressure. It elegantly illustrates how the curriculum intentionally anchors stress management right in the physical mechanics of the body first.
And the physical toolkit expands even further by contrasting that abdominal breathing with 2 other very specific respiratory methods. First, there's alternate breathing. You might have heard of it as alternate nostril breathing. This technique involves deliberately closing one nostril, inhaling, and then exhaling through the other in this steady, rhythmic pattern. It is incredibly effective at harmonizing the left and right hemispheres of the brain, giving you this deep sense of psychological balance and laser focus. Then we have chest or thoracic breathing. This one relies on the intercostal muscles, the ones right between your ribs, to expand the upper chest. Now, while deep abdominal breathing is your go-to for profound relaxation, learning the mechanics of thoracic breathing lets you become hyper-aware of exactly where you might be holding tension in your upper body. It's like a specialized menu designed to give you precise, total control over your whole respiratory system.
And that brings us to the role of meditation, the 4th and final pillar.
When you look at the program's structure, it reveals itself as this highly cohesive journey. Step 1 requires you to learn and master those physical breathing techniques. And honestly, there is a brilliant logic to sequencing it this way. Think about it. It is incredibly difficult to quiet a racing, anxious mind when your physical body is tense and agitated, right? By first mastering the abdominal, alternate, and thoracic breath, you systematically calm down your somatic system. You're basically turning off the body's alarm bells. Only once that physical foundation of calm is locked in do you move to step 2, practicing meditation. Calming the physical vessel essentially rolls out the red carpet for your mind to finally settle into stillness.
So, the absolutely crucial takeaway here is that all 4 of these distinct topics serve one ultimate unified purpose: stress management. These are not just isolated random exercises. They are deeply interconnected tools, carefully selected and packaged together to help you actively transition from a state of high anxiety to one of profound tranquility. By mastering this syllabus, you shift from being a passive victim of stress to someone equipped with a physiological remote control. How cool is that?
So, based on everything we've uncovered in our explainer today, which of these techniques might serve your own stress management best? Are you drawn to the deep physical grounding of abdominal breathing, the rhythmic balance of alternate breathing, or maybe the pure mental stillness of meditation? The tools are right here in your hands now. Will you master the breath of tranquility? Think about how these structured, teachable methods could seamlessly fit into your daily routine. Thank you so much for joining me to explore this profound text, and as always, keep learning.